So I've actually had some questions about this Trump stuff, right? That's going on in the world right now in U.S. politics, as like MAGA has turned on President Trump, and so I thought I'd make this video and talk about Saturn because it has everything to do with Saturn and Aries. We just had the full moon in Capricorn, which was ruled by the Saturn in Aries. And then Saturn just stationed retrograde today in Aries. And usually when planets station retrograde, that's when they're the loudest. Whatever that planet's function is, it gets kind of hyper emphasized. And of course, this is happening right now because Saturn in Aries tests leadership. That's what Aries is about. And whenever Saturn's in a sign, it's not going to accept any kind of slackness that has to do with that sign. So bad leaders are going to be put to the test. And, it's interesting to me how the people that are disillusioned by Trump, like, all you have to do is look at his character. This is an extremely bad character individual who lies about everything. Everything goes with his leadership. From the top down, it stacks down everywhere else. Of course, this is going to be the worst administration, and of course, the one thing that the one hill that MAGA is like willing to die on is these Epstein files things, right? And of course, Trump's probably in them. I mean, he is in them. Yeah, like anyone with common sense knows he's in them. As much as denial as they want to like. That the MAGA, but this video is not supposed to be about just that issue. I mean, I'm glad it's finally being exposed and like they're finally turning on him. Like this is what it took, right? And he's a terrible leader, and so Saturn is ultimately about karma and tests, and that's why this is happening. We talk about Saturn in retrograde a little bit, so. Saturn retrograde points to Uranus. Just remember that. It's stationed retrograde, and many of you might have been feeling delays in many parts of your life. I know I have. You may be feeling a sense of heaviness with decisions and concerns as the shift has been happening. Usually Saturn stays stationed for about 5 days, and then it starts moving backwards. And so now it's moving backwards. And it's going to stay retrograde until November 27th. And so while it's retrograde in the months ahead, we review and question our responsibilities and commitments instead of dealing with them in the moment or proactively, like when it's direct. So we may experience more than usual feelings of guilt and self-doubt as we internalize fears, but it's also an excellent opportunity to reassess our commitments. And then with people that have this, when I do consultations for people like Saturn retrograde, I have Saturn retrograde, but I say point to Uranus because of the fact that someone with Saturn retrograde at birth, it correlates to a soul who needs to establish their own authority and reality on their own terms. It accelerates the inherent individuation process, which is why I always look to the Uranus at the chart. It correlates to a consciousness in the soul that is inherently reflective to a high degree and learns about itself and life because of this high degree of self-reflection. A retrograde Saturn can create an inner psychological sense within the soul of not being able to connect or relate to reality, a feeling of being disconnected from that which most people are connected to. Saturn retrograde souls do connect to other Saturn retrograde souls quite easily because their inner orientation to reality is the same. Saturn retrograde souls desire to create a reality for themselves that is reflective of who they are as individuals. When this is not possible for whatever reasons, and they are forced into living within reality structures that the consensus of whatever society has created, not only do they feel disconnected and alienated, but there will be a deep sadness that permeates their souls. So conversely, if Saturn retrograde souls do create a reality for themselves that does reflect their individuality, then they will have an inner sense of well-being because of the Saturn retrograde soul's desire and need to keep recreating like recreating retrograde, get it? Their overall reality until their inner sense of their reality totally reflects their inner sense of individuality. It is like they are never totally satisfied, which is also a Saturnian function, until that satisfaction itself correlates to like whatever it is in their chart. So I just wanted to go over that. That's like the evolutionary definition of Saturn retrograde. It just to kind of put it all together. But yeah, Saturn in Aries is testing all kinds of leadership and what promises these leaders made and whether they kept them. Like this is the time for leaders to be honest. So I hope that helps for now, and I hope you all are doing well and having a good summer.